You're listening to The Grip, where we take hold of mindset and martial arts. Now, let's get started. Welcome back to The Grip. Today we're diving into one of our special mini episodes where we mix things up with a few fast-paced segments. We'll kick things off with Grip and Go, a round of rapid-fire questions to loosen things up and to get to know our guest in a fun way. Then we'll move into Roll Call, where I bring in questions straight from you, our listeners and audience. That way the guest can tackle what's on your mind. And to wrap it all up, we'll finish with Word into Wisdom. In this segment, the guest picks a number between 1 and 100. That number ties to a word from the NICE list, which can be motivational and uplifting terms, and the naughty list, the gritty, tough, and sometimes challenging words. Once revealed, the guest unpacks the word, sharing their personal definition and how it's shown up in their life or martial arts journey, and what wisdom they take from it. That's it. 3 rounds, 1 conversation. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to The Grip. If you missed it, make sure to go back and listen to episode 5, where you'll get to know Belton on a deeper level and hear more about his history, his journey into martial arts, his accomplishments, and just goals moving forward. But until then, we're going to continue on with our little short series here today. So what we're going to do, Belton, is we'll start off with our Grip and Go section, okay? So it's more of a rapid-fire questions that we'll run through. We'll keep it fun and lighthearted. So you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So first one is gi or no gi?
Gi.
Okay. Blade or stick?
Surprisingly, that's a two-part answer. Carry, blade, train, stick. And sometimes
Cool.
stick over blade.
Okay. Can you explain?
If I faced a guy with a knife coming at me, I go knife to knife, I think I'd actually feel comfortable with a stick because it's a longer range weapon. I can hit his weapon hand, snap that out, and keep him at bay. I think sometimes we look at the stick, then think about it. I have 26 inches of hardwood rattan, and you're out there trying to poke me, and I just whack. The velocity of that stick, I'm pretty sure you're going to drop the blade. But some people are immune to multiple hits, and so the blade would come in handy. So it kind of depends. But Sometimes I prefer one or the other. Depends.
Okay. Do you see yourself training one more than the other or coaching one more than the other, or do you try and stay balanced on both?
The stick is the blade and the blade is the stick. So it's like saying gi, no gi. The reason why you choose gi is because there's a lot of coverage over the no gi aspects, but you can't cover gi with no gi. You have monkey grips, but sometimes when you grab a sleeve, a collar, which again, nobody does naked sambo in the streets of Seattle. They have a jacket, they have a shirt. You have grips, you have friction. I'm not walking around in tighty whities and bare naked skins. We have to face reality in that sense. It gets deeper. It slows you down. It allows you to absorb things. It allows you to see the concepts rather than depending on athleticism and badass wrestling. Because we all know at one point, higher, better, faster athletes just going to, demolish in no-gi. I mean, for the most part, yes, obviously.
It's an
sometimes
advantage.
It's not exactly. So I think gi is like the stick and blade is like no-gi.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good analogy. Okay, joint locks or chokes?
Ooh, joint locks.
Okay. Training morning, afternoon, or night?
I'm more of a night guy training. I like that kind of end of the day kind of feeling,
Yeah. And just crash afterwards?
Yes. Yeah. I would have to say that. Sometimes morning, but it depends. I'd have to get into a rhythm and then love it again. But sometimes late afternoon or mid-morning into evening. Evening, definitely. Yeah.
If you could train with any martial artist, dead or alive, it would be?
That's a good damn question. I know everyone wants to say Bruce Lee, but we also have to understand Bruce Lee trained with many other great martial artists and made it his own. And I would say Bruce Lee was a great adopter of arts and discarding what wasn't useful to him and keeping what was useful to him. So let me think on that for a moment.
Okay. We'll stick with him for now, and then if somebody else comes to mind, let me know.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Your personal fuel before training is?
Fasting.
Fasting. Okay.
So I don't like to eat or drink. But if not, there's this cold brew that's made by Ronda Rousey's brother, Jeff Rousey, which you guys had tasted, the Nitro Cold Brew.
Oh, yes. Okay. I didn't realize that's who it was from.
Yes, Jeff Rousey,
Okay.
Rousey Roasters, also has a company up here, and he made a blend of Ethiopian, Costa Rican, Guatemalan, and I forget the fourth blend. But I said I want strong as hell, but not bitter, and a robust flavor. And so he made me a cold brew that was just so, I mean, you could just take a shot of it and you're like, "Bing." That's one of my favorite pre-workouts. Shout out to him, to Jeff Rousey.
Yeah,
Very,
absolutely.
very powerful story, that guy. Yeah.
Awesome. The phrase you repeat to yourself on hard days.
That's a good one. Let me think on that just a couple of seconds here.
Take your
I
time.
don't know, because the hard days just come and you just kind of just blank out. It's not like I go, okay, it's gonna be a hard day. It's just you just do it. Just keep an empty mind. So it's not like I have to
Mm.
pump or psych myself up. It's just sometimes the hard days just come and you're like, that was a damn hard day. It's not like I was telling myself, okay, da 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 da. I
Do you
think
find yourself just kind of being able to move forward, stay busy, and try not to perseverate on things?
yeah, I think so. I think combat guys get this more, you know. There's a story, and I took a deathmatch challenge in Philippines. I kind of decided to just call somebody out, and I said, "Let's go. Let's just do this old school way in Philippines. Just two guys in to the death." You know, it's like a death contract. So in the olden days in Philippines, you actually would sign a death contract, and you would say that, like, if I was to fight you, a lawyer would be present, we sign papers, so you can't sue me, I can't sue you, there's no repercussions on our families and things like that. So you'd fight to the death and you kill each other. So in Philippines, a situation happened, just a long story short, and I decided to do that. Well, I took a breath for a moment. This is like, what do you say to yourself kind of thing. This is probably more appropriate. And I said, okay, I can't overthink this. And so I called Sean up and I said, take care of my wife and kid if I don't call back in 3 hours. And that was it. And I just emptied my mind. And I made amends with myself that if I die, I die. If I don't, I don't.
Oh. And so
Yeah.
you actually went through with the fight.
So I would be implicating myself and tells you that I'm in America. I'm here.
Yeah. How can I ask, Belton, how old you were when this occurred?
30s. So obviously I'm alive, and I'm not going to say that I killed somebody if I didn't. The funny story is I'd go to seminars and people like would wonder if I did go through it, because I did go through it. I showed up and the person wasn't there. So he never showed. I didn't care. I just showed up, and it was interesting. I was wondering, I was getting weird looks at a seminar. People were kind of like whispering when I walked in, and I forgot about that. And a couple of, tier one operator guys were like, "Hey dude, good job." And I'm like, "Good job? What's this guy talking about?" It's like, "Hey man, you can't lose face in these countries, and so I'm glad you represented." I was like, "What is he talking about? Lose face?" And somebody whispered and goes, "Dude, they think you killed the guy. They think you actually went through with it." And I was like, "I mean, I was there. No one showed up." And, "Oh, dude, they think I killed the guy." So it's kind of a funny story, because for a while, I think people just, I mean, what am I, I'm not going to go and explain myself to everybody, but I think there maybe had been a rumor for quite a while that somebody said that Belton's back. And so that means he went through with it all the way. So yeah, I think that's the part. You have to empty your mind. You have to kind of not really even,
So instead of the concept of repeating some kind of mantra or phrase or self-talk, instead try and find just emptiness and
emptiness. Yeah.
clarity. Yeah.
If you're going to get into a knife fight, you've already got to accept the fact you're going to get cut. That's what knife guys say. I'm accepting the fact I'm going to get cut. So yeah, I mean, nothing to brag about there. No, I didn't kill anybody. No, I didn't get into a knife fight. I've got into other knife situations in other stories, but this was the big story that kind of floated around for a while,
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, showed
Yeah.
up, had about like 5 knives with me, and I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't nervous as hell, but just showed up and I just said, I'm going to do this thing. I committed to it.
Yeah, and that's funny that, I mean, like, you go to talk about a most extreme situation too, of a hard day. I think some people's definition of a hard day is like, man, I got a flat tire on the way to work.
Yeah.
You're talking about life and death, and so yeah, I think that's also true. Is people's like meter in terms of what they perceive as being a hard day and something that is
My
truly challenging.
My grandmaster was the funny one. We were eating dinner when all this stuff went down, and he goes, "Are you sure you don't want me to do it?" Because it was really directed at him. So I was like, "Yeah, no one insults my grandmaster." I said, "I'll do it," and he goes, "I lived a good life." I forgot how old he was back then. It's like maybe late 60s, early 70s. I'm old man. I lived a good life. So what are you going to say? You killed an old man? Nothing to brag about there. But if I get him, then you died by an old man. It's like wearing pink Muay Thai shirts and dyeing your hair pink. If you get beat, you're supposed to beat me. I'm wearing pink. And if I beat you, that's embarrassing. I'm like a lady boy or something. So it's not a lose-lose situation. So I said, no, I got this, grandmaster. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what did I just commit to? My wife found out later, about 2 or 3 months later, Sean was stressed out for the next 3 hours. He just couldn't sleep. He was like, "What the hell?" And I go, "I don't want to talk about it. Click, I gotta go." So I don't want to talk. I don't want to be like, oh, start crying and be like, I just said, "Well, take your combat dump, take a big shit, and just go."
Your next fight to death, I'm sure, maybe was getting back home to that wife and
She found out. I think
having
she
to
heard.
face that.
Yeah, my daughter found out recently, just about a year ago. I think she just found out about those stories, and she's like, "What, Dad?" I was like, "Yeah, your dad's been through some stuff." Anyway, yeah.
Okay, a wellness habit you wish you started sooner.
Um, Managing my diet better when I was younger. I was a roly-poly fat kid, athletic, but kinda chunky, and so I kinda wish, I had more education, or my parents just kinda maybe just educated me a bit more, or I had the foresight to kinda understand, like, when McDonald's came to Guam, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, McDonald's," and so now it's kinda comfort food for me. Like, if I
Mm.
really am having a moment and it's, like, been 3, 4 months, which I don't go to McDonald's a lot, but I'll go and have myself a double quarter pounder with cheese and some fries, and I'm like, "This is good."
They're on some
It's
mac sauce.
Yeah, that's it's a weird comfort food because I remember that growing up. Every Sunday, we'd go to
Sure.
McDonald's. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's like a little memory attached
So
to
I
it
think I think
too.
good healthy eating habits. Aubrielle
Mhm.
got that when she was younger, so I just wish my parents were just a little bit more educated in that department, because I think those good habits would have put me through a better situation growing up as far as my weight and some healthy, diabetes runs in my family, things like that.
Yeah. You feel most grateful when?
Uh, Gratefulness comes when you appreciate what you have, and I think I'm most grateful that, one of my students passed away from cancer, and he was one of my coaches, Muay Thai coaches, and it just opens up your perspective on life, and you're grateful that I'm able to do what I do. Every time I teach, every time somebody's lives change, I'm only human, so I do make mistakes, and I think when I see somebody, a kid, become confident and not be bullied anymore, somebody is now public speaking or doing great at school, or they're facing job interviews and they're stronger, women being more confident because they feel empowered, it just makes me grateful for what I do for a living every day. So the gratefulness comes from the byproduct of martial arts, whether it's fighting or just people absorbing the art,
Yeah.
so I think one of the gals just texted me just last week, recently, said, I was 12. She's 26 now. She still trains with me. And she said, I still have the first pair of sticks you gave me. And I'm grateful you came into my life at a period of time when teenage years, drugs, alcohol, and just mean friends, etc. And I'm grateful that she stuck with it. I'm grateful that there was a dark period of time, and then she kind of came back and she found martial arts again. And so her martial arts was always a happy memory. And so I'm grateful that there's something rooted in that for her to defer to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last one for our grip and go questions is the best advice you've ever received was
Um, I actually got it from a movie. Do you remember The Lion King?
Mhm.
Do you remember when Rafiki smacked Simba in the head? And Simba goes, "Oh, what'd you do that for?" And he goes, "Doesn't matter. It's in the past."
Oh, so good. That's such a classic moment.
Yeah, so I I say that all the time in the floor. I'll just They get all butthurt. I'm like, "What does it matter? It's in the past. You can't change that. It's what you do moving forward."
Yeah.
So I'll do this to a fighter. I'll smack them because they get all hung up on
Now
like a
you have an
combo.
An excuse just to be smacking your students around every
Do a
time.
combo, get upset, or a fight happen, and they get depressed for 2 months. I'm like, dude, it's the past. Who cares? Learn
Yeah.
from it and move on. What are you dwelling on it for?
Yeah. Very good. I like it. All right, Belton, we're going to now, unless you've thought any further on if you were to train with any other martial artist, we're going to stick with Bruce Lee?
No, I'm gonna take away from the standard of everyone saying Bruce Lee. Um, I think there's a lot of Bruce Lee moments I've had already from his senior students and from people who carried on his art. I would say I would love to learn and chat to talk to somebody who's been in hand-to-hand combat in death situations, like a samurai warrior of some sort, or people that were facing life and death in that way. I mean, martial artist, and then I think combat martial artists. So I'd like to talk to like a legendary samurai sword fighter, or one of the great Filipino martial artists that had like multiple 2-digit death matches with the sticks. And that's a different mindset. I mean, I think, sport is cool. Oh, I'd love to talk to Kobe Bryant. I'd love to talk to Michael Jordan. There's documentaries out right now on Kobe, on how he prepared for how he lived his life, and that Michael Jordan has there's greats out there. And because of technology, but I think going way back in history, because there's lack of that, there's written stuff, but being able to sit in front of somebody, not watch an interview, or watch a film, because that's you can easily at least get an essence on or absorb kind of like who they were as a person. But if it's an old time, and it doesn't even have to be somebody famous. I mean, it could be a village chief that defended his family for the last 30 years, and he's been in like multiple battles protecting his land. I'd love to talk to them about what was it, what what drove you to do what you did, and how did you evolve your art and your defensive skills against marauding, this, that, and the other, or even like Genghis Khan, or conquerors, or people who were like warriors. I'm not saying we don't have any today, but a warrior can be defined in different things. A single mother raising 2 kids is a warrior in my book. I'm talking about people who faced some of the old timers, some of the old school stuff.
Yeah, true adversity.
Yeah, true
That's
adversity.
almost like unfathomable for us today.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset, man. And soldiers get it, but I'm talking like hand to hand. I'm old school shit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to transition over to our roll call series. So this is questions from the audience. And so these are going to be questions from current, former students of yours, as well as just people who listen in. So let them pick your brain a little bit. So our first question is, how do you go about planning your coaching curriculum each week? And does that vary based on discipline or practice?
So I usually stay on a topic for about 2 weeks. For Muay Thai, Monday, Tuesdays are pad work days, long range and short range. Wednesday, Thursdays are shin guards and gloves, so we can actually apply that within sparring drills or live-to-live contact. The 2 weeks allows it to build a base, and from that base to kind of expand on it. For example, we are on lapel right now for BJJ. I'll go over lapel chokes, lapel knee on belly, feeding the lapel trapping, then we stay on that and then repeat it again. You look at students are not, you got the very few that are like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday people. Then you have Monday, Wednesday. Then you have Tuesday, Thursday. Sometimes you have once a week people. So if they miss one day and you don't stay on the topic, then it's gone. They're going to miss that. The growth is kind of stunted. Also, I don't control their schedule, their lives, and they can't come in all the time. Do I want everybody to come 4 times a week? Absolutely. That'd be great. But learning doesn't happen that way. And by repeating it the next week, it not only emphasizes and learning for those who were in the class, but it also emphasizes me as a coach, because teaching it twice, I learn it more. Muay Thai, kind of the same. We're now on the defensive hand, and focusing on the jab. And the reason why that inspiration came from this weekend with the Terrence Crawford fight, and also one of my fighters, the Crawford Canelo fight, and one of my fighters fought, and it was hands. If my fighter had thrown more jabs, the other team did for sure. And I gravitate towards the situation at hand. If there's a topic that sticks out, let's say I went to BJJ Revolution, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone's killing it right now, takedowns, and I'll kind of get takedown heavy, So the curriculum's alive, it's ever changing, but I don't like it when a school does armbar on a Monday, Tuesday, and then it's like a lapel thing. Then Wednesday it's kind of a weird single leg, and then Thursday it's like there's no connect. So I like to at least connect the dots so the learning process sticks more. I don't macro cycle it. I don't go, okay, all of January we're going to focus on this, and then February this, and then I kind of try to keep it in the micro cycle of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the curriculum is adaptable and changeable, and sometimes that changes too with a fighter coming up. If a fight's coming up and it's suddenly there's a heavy focus on that fight, it's a big fight, and I notice that the teep is like the thing we need to. I'll get into like teep or angles or keeping them off of you or crashing in. Maybe we need to clinch more. So yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. I
Yep.
will say too, Belton, just because you sparked, I was kind of just reflecting on all the classes that we took of yours. And that was something that I know I really appreciated as a student. It probably sounds so like, of course, to you or so simple, but how much you drilled and didn't let anybody slide as far as not only as a striker, but being a good partner and pad holder. That I feel like I didn't realize how much that advanced me in my fundamentals from like a vision standpoint, processing speed, understanding the combinations better, understanding the footwork, just making sure that I'm being a good partner. And I know that also carries over into jiu-jitsu too, when you're drilling and, making sure that you're actually giving them good feedback and being realistic when you're doing positional work and whatever it may be. But that was something I really appreciated about Warrior Strength is you guys never let anybody slide as far as, I'm just holding, so I'm going to take a break sort of thing. It was like, no, you need to be 100% no matter what position you're in.
Yeah. That feedback gives that reality. If it's like a bad handshake if it's just kind of like that versus a firm grip, it just feels icky when somebody's not. It's just not real. It doesn't feel right. So if I see that, I know what it feels like to be in both ends of that spectrum. And people are like, oh man, you hold great pads. I go, well, you can too. Why does it just have to be me? Why can't you move with your partner? It's like dancing. Nobody just stands there and just dance. You move forward, backwards. The movement is life, and so you got to move. And so I try to emphasize that a lot. And BJJ too. If you're not giving the feedback, they don't know how to really fight for that position to grab an arm. But if you're just like, go ahead and take it, they're like, bro. Give me a little resistance because that resistance helps me move to the next position, or it allows me to pivot a certain way or position my body a certain way. You don't give that resistance. Holding pads the wrong way, being in a bad position in the wrong way, actually changes the whole drill. And sometimes the concept changes, and it's like, I shouldn't be working on that because you're not moving. The whole point was me moving forward to step and to kick. But if I'm just going to stand here, I'm just going to knee you because you're just standing there. Why should I kick?
Right.
Why am I going to stay within the context of the drill when you changed it by the way you move? So it's important. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, as you advance in so many different arts, how do you balance finding opportunities to just continue to keep growing and learning?
These people really ask these questions? You actually got a hold of some people?
Oh, yeah. You have no idea how many people I reached out. And actually, you'd be surprised. Some people got back to me like within minutes. So I very much appreciated to those that were lovely and responded. So, because for those that are listening, we have not launched yet. And so my first few guests, I had to get a little bit more creative as gathering audience-based questions because we don't have an audience right now. So I had to reach out to the crew that I knew that actually knew you guys. And so
Gotcha.
that made my life a little bit easier.
Yeah. What's the question again? How do you advance?
Yeah, so as you advance in so many different arts, how do you balance finding opportunities to continue growing and learning yourself?
It depends. So Philippine martial arts, I balance it out by learning a move and countering the move in my head. So if I learned a move, I'm like, what would I do if that move was done to me? And because FMA is pretty unique in that sense of like, here's a move, here's how you finish him or disarm. And I'm like, well, I have a counter to that. As it's being done to me, I start thinking like that. You can't get that way unless you're at a little bit of higher level practitioner. Don't do what I do because you're not where I am, if that makes sense. Understand that you still need to work the fundamentals, understand every aspect of that initial move to then feel the nuances and the movement, the energy behind that move so you can then counter that. So advancing go back to the question again?
Yeah, so because like for you especially, Belton, you're coaching a ton, but you're diving into BJJ, you're diving into stick fighting, knife fighting, Muay Thai, all the things. And so you have your routine. Granted, you're also pulled in so many different directions. So maybe that does just keep you motivated to keep growing and learning. But how do you make sure that you're not catching yourself and just running through the day to day and getting monotonous and realizing like,
Yeah.
man, I'm not growing or learning myself anymore.
So if you're a student, the way you get better at something is if you're working with somebody that this is a remedial drill. This is a jab cross hook. Oh my gosh, instead of doing that, as you're working with them, start trying to move in such a way that you're technically working on your defense. Like you don't need to work at punching harder. Let's see as they punch you that you can actually move your head a little bit more and see if they can't catch you. You can always train yourself. Never untrain yourself. If you're on the other side of the fence, if you're being armbarred, never untrain yourself. Feel the timing of when you can slip that elbow past that point of where it's point of no return, basically. One, two, you I the way I balance that out is I have to kind of switch my mindset. It's hard in the beginning for those who started martial arts. You can't go from one Filipino stick fighting system to the other because it bleeds over. So understand when your judo is your judo and when your jiu-jitsu is your jiu-jitsu. Understand when it's Berlin to walk, there's a certain look versus a PTK look. Understand that um, some moves are done in three in this one system, and some moves have a little bit more different setup. But to get deep into that mindset or that depth of knowledge on that art, you have to at least dedicate some time to the art. So when when you're at that level, train yourself differently. Look at things from a different lens. Don't be like, oh, it's the same damn drill. Do it better, do it faster, do it quicker.
So
I
is that
think
how you stay motivated? Like that's how you continue to grow and learn?
I stay motivated by constantly creating puzzles for myself. What would I do in this situation? And then I like to be in the receiving end of it. So I'll have you do it to me because everybody you touch, everybody that comes towards you and attacks you, you get different feedbacks. Defending yourself against somebody who's 6'2", who has long legs in a triangle, it's different from, the same principle applies, but it feels different from somebody who's a little bit more thick-legged. How does that feel? Somebody
Sure.
who's a scrambler, things like that. So I at least having a dialogue with myself and not just doing just to do it, but I'm actually putting myself and watching their movement. So I'm always keen and aware. And that's probably what makes me a good coach is as I'm cornering fighters, I'm recognizing I'm going through my library and database of all these profiles of movement. And I'm just like, I recognize that movement. That's like that one guy I trained, and you can corner against him. And when you make it fun like that in your head, then you're not just kind of rolling your eyes at the situation. Cause that's what I'm looking at 31 years of martial arts. 31. I'm an old man. Yeah. And so after a while, I mean, it does get, and I caught myself just in time of getting that kind of, so you got to kind of like go back to your why, find ways to be creative. And then in that way, so when you have higher level students, you know how to be creative for them because you did it for yourself. So that way
Yeah.
they're not bored. Because how many times have you seen classes where the higher level guys are just kind of like,
Do
the
to
same old,
do.
same old. Yeah, to
Yeah.
the same old, same old. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. What are common misconceptions about martial arts and injury risk?
That you're going to get hurt. You're talking about a guy who had 2 shoulder surgeries. Common misconception is that it's dangerous. It is dangerous. It's meant to be dangerous. It's a combat art, combat sport. But I think being aware of one's ego, being aware of your limitations, your physical capabilities, being aware who's in front of you. If it's a 130-pound mother of 2 who also does a day job sitting at a desk, I probably won't smash kill her. I mean, I'd probably give her the 130-pound weight and 130-pound movement of her age group. If it's a 6-foot guy and he's 200, 300 pounds, then I'm going to be as heavy as possible and be as strong, but also realizing he has that strength to counter me even more so with force because of his size. And I have to learn to give it up. Otherwise I'm going to snap, tap, and crack, So being self-aware, this happened from a visiting student. This happened from another student. So the only injury I ever had that my torn groin was with a student was with Pedro when I tore my groin. But we were drilling. We're like literally 20th rep in, and it's just an awkward kind of like it was the pass. It was the where they're in turtle position. You grab the collar of the belt and you just sit and you flip them over. Well, as I was flipping over, he kind of just almost like a handstand on my thigh, and I did one more pull and it went pop pop pop. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So understand you've made that commitment to a very mobile, athletic, physical environment. You just have to be self-aware. A lot of people don't even know their bodies, but also, I mean, I've been healthy throughout 31 years. I mean, this is just recently, and I keep forgetting my age. So
Yeah.
I think people
Well, and
need to
I
learn how
think
to grow.
too, just with any level of activity or sport, basketball, football, tennis, pickleball, whatever. I mean, there is going to be fluke situations or instances where you're going to roll an ankle or you're going to, something
Yeah.
happens and it's just like it is what it is. And like going into martial arts, yes, there is this level of heightened awareness and threat kind of mentality. But I wish people would know when you first go into a gym, it is not like you're going to get thrown to the wolves into this cage and be like, all right, have at them, and all of a sudden you're just getting like beat up. And I mean, I know that sounds so extreme, but it is. I've been surprised when I've talked to somebody that maybe doesn't know a thing about martial arts and they find out that I'm going to martial arts or doing jujitsu or kickboxing or whatever it may be. And they instantly are like, oh, I would never, because I just I can't get hit in the face. And it's like, just even understanding of the sport and how technical it can be and how you find a good gym and a good coach that it is completely safe and you figure out where you can push your limits and then obviously they'll find ways to push you as well and get better. That is part of the dynamic of it and being able to be comfortable in some of those uncomfortable situations. But it is not like I walk in and I got to be ready to like fights and
I say for those who are looking for martial arts, walk in a gym, sit there, observe, feel the energy, look at the teacher, look how he's teaching, look at the students, look at the base of students, look at how they're interacting with each other, and you're like, okay, this isn't for me. That doesn't mean that martial arts isn't for you. That gym isn't for you. That's a big
sure.
difference. So then move on to another gym, check it out, meet the instructor, talk to them, address your concerns. He or she should be able to be like, oh, not a problem. That's Mary over there. She had a shoulder surgery. She's 3 years in, she thought she couldn't do it because she had surgery. And that instructor, if they've had depth of knowledge and have compassion and understanding, should be able to address any concern. If they can't address the concern, usually it's their lack of knowledge, which then they hide behind their ego. It's like, well, combat sport, you're going to get punched in the face. It's not for you. Those people aren't interested in growing the art. They're interested in creating a tribe of bad mother effers who just want to go out there, and they don't realize, bro, you're 28 right now. Wait till you're 45. You got to still teach them so they can learn. It's not about just going hard all the time. And I think a good instructor will learn how to balance it out with their student base.
Yeah.
Just interview carefully. Just look around carefully. That's all.
Yeah. How has your martial arts journey influenced your lifestyle and habits off the mat?
Sometimes I wish it was congruent, because martial arts is supposed to teach you balance, and sometimes I don't have that balance. So it puts me in check. There's healthy ways martial arts can help you in your life. Oh, be strong, be confident, be empowered, face your adversity. You don't like the position you're in, change your position. That's BJJ, right? Change your position. But sometimes it can also put you in check. As you're going through shit, you're like, why am I doing this? I can balance out martial arts, but I can't balance my life out. So we talk about balance. So it's a kind of a reminder. You use it as a reference point to get through a hard time, but it's also sometimes it points out why you're in that hard time. So it depends on how your perspective on that. Going through personal matters. If I didn't have martial arts, I think I wonder what I would be doing. So I wonder if I would be sulking in a corner, depressed or whatever. Having something to look forward to every day, serving others. I'm serving students, and it keeps me busy. So that's the healthy part of that. It keeps me active. While most people, some people are like, whoa, you're 49. I'm like, yeah, I still move. Some people stop moving. You're kind of forced to move. You can't do martial arts and not move. So you're moving, you're training your eyes, your reflexes. So you're training your brain. And a lot of times people decline in their brain activity when they get older. So they kind of like forget more, they deal with dementia, things like that. So your brain is being worked on constantly because you're learning. You're always in a state of learning. Rather than if I was 49 years old, sitting in an office, showing up today, the day, doing the daily mundane thing I did for the last 10, 15 years, I think I'd be rotting away inside, just be like, life, this is what life is. It sucks, so there's more to it. So martial arts keeps you alive. It brings our aliveness out.
Yeah. What's a bucket list place you'd love to travel to for training or teaching?
So, talk about a guy that travels.
Coming from the I know, coming from the world traveler. Because I have a piggyback question off of this just because I'm curious, but I'll let you answer this one first.
Where haven't I been? I would love to train and travel to one of the energy filled places of the world, like Nepal, up in the mountains, and visit some of these old sites. I love old country, old sites. If not, I would like to go to Africa and train with the African stick fighting tribes. But been to India, been to Philippines, been to Asia, been to Japan, Europe. If it's Europe, I'd like to visit some old castles and look at some of the medieval style training. But not very many places other than maybe Africa, and also maybe Nepal, like up in the
Cool.
Himalayas. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And you already answered because I was going to ask, where have you been? Because I knew a handful of places, but I'm sure there is others that I didn't have any idea about.
Europe, Japan, Hawaii, India, all over the US, from the East Coast to the West Coast, Thailand, Southeast Asia, Philippines. I stopped in a lot of places like your Hong Kongs, your Taipeis, Taiwan. I haven't been Northern Europe. I think that would be kind of cool. But I think I hit up every continent except maybe I like to, yeah, except maybe like Russia or like way up there and some other places. But Africa's the only continent. So I've been Peru, Costa Rica, Argentina.
Have you been to Australia?
No, that
Would
would
you want to
be.
go there?
I do. There's a buddy there that's documentary guy. He does film, and so we've been talking. I'd like to visit him. There's some great martial artists in Australia, and New Zealand, Australia. That's a couple other places I'd like to visit.
For
But
sure.
yeah,
Good bucket list. Cool. What's a personal ritual or mindset habit you use before competition or big events?
as a coach, I'm talking from the coach perspective. Your fighter feels your energy. So coaches that get all nervous and worried, your fighter feels that, and so they're warming up their guy 2 hours before the competition. They're all right. Make sure we don't forget to just pause. One of my fighters was also kind of acting a certain way. So it was before a title fight, and I was wrapping his hands, and he was actually crying. And I was like, "What the hell is going on right now?" So I brought him to the. I go, "Come over here," because I didn't want to do it in front of people. I brought him to the back, and I headbutted him. I just- I
Have
go,
you ever heard
"Get."
that nobody wins in a headbutt?
Yeah, no, but I have a hard head, so I go, "Get your shit together. My dog's in the hospital, $4,000 bill, about to die or maybe live. My daughter and my wife are crying because we can't do anything because they're in the veterinary, and I drove my ass up here to corner you. I go 6 fucking minutes of your life. Get a grip. Go in there, do your job, come out of there, and we either we win or we learn." I go, "What are you making a big deal out of?" And he's just like, "You're right." I was like, "Yeah, holy crap. Thank you. And I'm sorry for doing." I was like, "You're okay. You're okay. Just calm down."
Sorry for the goose egg on your forehead.
No, yeah, yeah. Another
Yeah.
another fighter she was a little like hyperventilating, and I remember it was Julia and it was Gary, and I told Gary, I go, "You need to sit in the crowd." And Julia was like, "Thank you. I just need to be in my moment." I'm like, "You're good. You're good. Don't worry." So I think before competition, fighters just so many things going on in their head. Where's my mom sitting? Where's my dad sitting? Where's my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, what if they do this? Oh my gosh, I'm looking at him. He looks scary. What about that one combo? Stop, stop. You prepared. Remember the whole, I'm going to go into this battle, like the guy I calling up Sean and giving him that phone call. And then once I hung up, clear your mind. You got to empty your cup. Sometimes you can't fight more than one person unless you're getting jumped by a gang. You got that one person in front of you, but if you're having to fight your head, the relationship that's in the crowd because you had an argument, your job, worrying about your rent, it's just there's too much jumbled in your head, you can't win that fight. You can only fight one thing, but that person in front of you, you got to put your focus on that. That's when people get hurt, man. You take your eyes off the target, the prize. So same thing, coaching and fighting, just stay the course. Just stay the course. The outcome will be the outcome no matter what. But you went through it, it's like, chill out, dude. Relax. I know they can't relax, but some fighters will do a shakeout in the morning. I know Carlos Azoya. We beat 2 UFC Contender Series guys. He'll do a shakeout. He'll do his Wim Hof breathing. He has this certain meal. Albert has a certain routine too. you start to develop a routine as you get higher up in your fight game. In the beginning, in the amateurs, you just don't know you. So
Mm-hmm.
you're still learning who you are as a fighter. If you know who you are as a fighter, then I know myself as a coach. That's, hey, perfect. But once you figure that out, I remember one guy, he goes, Coach, I just want to get in there, man. I got shit to do. I got to check emails. I got to make a mix track. I got to feed my dog. I started laughing. And he was saying that kind of like, it's just a task. He was kind of that's his speech in his mind, versus the pacing guy. Another fighter has a certain thing he does. And when he broke away from that thing, he lost that fight. He usually doesn't look at the other opponent. He doesn't watch them warm up. He's calm and collected. But this one fight, he actually was kind of kept looking. But I also knew what was going on in his life, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend dumped him, lost his job, and his mom passed away all in the same month before his fight. So just so much was in his head. And I tried to take him out of that fight, but I also knew that he needed that fight. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
I'm
advice,
sure it's very
clear mind.
individualized. Yeah.
Just task. You got a task. Prepared for the task, go do the task. Come back. You're done.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
You kind of answered this one a little bit when we were talking about what keeps you motivated and practicing different ones. But for someone new to martial arts, how do you recommend balancing training in multiple styles without getting overwhelmed? Or do you recommend them even trying a little bit of everything or, maybe
No,
just focus on one?
don't be a master of none and a jack of all trades. Dedicate to an art. Get great foundation. Let's say somebody started jujitsu. Don't start jujitsu and suddenly start like judo and wrestling because they're too close. Now, if you do jujitsu and Muay Thai, that's different because there's a pretty distinct difference. But if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do all the grappling arts, man. I'm gonna do jujitsu. I'm gonna do sambo. I'm gonna do judo, and I'm gonna take wrestling. Slow down. Just do jujitsu. Let's say you're a purple belt and you start doing judo. It starts to make sense. You start making the connection. It starts clicking in a different way. When you're earlier in the beginning, you're like, wait, what? So, yeah, but when I throw this
It
way,
all
you
kind of
start,
meshes together.
yeah, you start messing it up. The footwork changes. Like, why do they backstep in judo? Wait, what? So the cool thing about our BJJ, it has judo roots and wrestling roots. So it's embedded in there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even realize you're already doing it. And so it's adapted a bit towards what we do and how we do it. But, and there's only so much bandwidth and capacity for learning and time. I mean, you got all the time in the world. Cool, man. Go for it. But it's really a mindset. Okay, I'm doing Filipino stick fighting today or the
Mm-hmm.
next hour. I got to change my mindset. If you got the dedication and the apt for learning and you're telling yourself, I'm a martial artist for life. Cool, man. But some of these people just do it because they're just chasing butterflies. So it depends
Mm-hmm.
on your goal, depends what you want out of it. If you want to be a fighter, and you go to an MMA gym and all you're doing is like punch, punch, grab, take down, punch, 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 choke. That's not a complete diversified totality of what it means to be a great MMA fighter. Your jiu-jitsu, your wrestling, your striking. If you train those separately and then find a way to bring it together, then you can be more successful. But if you don't do that, then you're bleeding into things and you're just gonna get so damn confused.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Is there one drill or habit that made the biggest difference in your personal growth as a martial artist?
A drill or a habit, because that's two different things. Your
We
drill or
can talk
habit.
about one or both.
A habit would be repping things out, just repping things out, and telling yourself, the moment I'm bored with it, that means I've succeeded to a degree of where I absorbed it. Train till you're bored. Train till you just don't have to think about it. Till it becomes automaticity, automatic. You don't have to think
Mm-hmm.
about it. A good drill would be taking a combination and isolating it, If it's an arm drag to a takedown to a this and that, a submission, work the arm drag. So compartmentalize. And then start
Yeah.
to. So what I call it stacking the drill. You've done this in class with me. Jab cross, jab cross. Okay, guys, add the hook in. Pop, 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 pop. So you're actually sneaking in an extra count, but you're still repping out the first two counts. Pop, pop, pop,
Mm-hmm.
pop, 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 pop. Okay, add the kick because then you start chipping away and it can kind of like chiseling each strike. Like, hey, your hook, turn it over more, come out a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
that rotate your body more. And then you add the kick. Suddenly the combo, instead of saying, okay, guys, the first combo of the day is jab, cross, hook, round kick into a rear teep, into a lead out. What? And even if
Already
you
overwhelmed.
don't,
Yeah.
even if you don't have that instructor, do it in yourself. Analyze it, compartmentalize it, so then you can then look at it from ground floor then look at it from 10,000 feet in the air, then come back down to ground floor, and you see the big picture.
Yeah. What is the most common mistake you see new fighters make when preparing for their first fight?
Overthinking. I just talked to a couple of fighters yesterday that was just texting me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to head kick him because he's 5'7". I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I go, you ain't going to do shit. Why don't you just focus on your form? Because you can prepare for the fighter, and 1 month later, it's a different fighter. Because they're still evolving too, dummy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just look at a damn video and be like, oh, yeah, look at that, I can just do that. Now, if they're a pro, they're like 20, 30, 40 fights, then you can be like, yeah, dude, he tends to do this a lot.
More.
You can plan a little bit more because they usually stay to a thing and get better. But I mean, look at Ronda Rousey, the armbar queen. Watch out for Ronda's armbar. Watch out for her throws. Why does she still get them? Because she hyper focused on that one thing she's good at, or two things: the throw, the submission, the armbar, and her throws. And she'll find every funnel that leads into that position. She has all those bases covered. Well, like I said before in jiu-jitsu, sometimes I got so into the Kimura, all I did was nothing but Kimuras. Then I got upset at my back take. People were choking me from the back, so I just let them have my back. And every roll, every time I kept losing, I got choked out 50 times, 50 become 40, 40 becomes 30, then it becomes 20, then 15, then suddenly out of 50 times you try to choke me from the back, even with your hooks in and seatbelt, you may get one. And that's success. Minimize each risk, minimize each things that led to that road. And then now you understand it from the other side of that fence. Now you take their back, and your learning is it's a complete learning. It's not just one-sided. I think, yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
How do you mentally prepare your athletes for high pressure fights?
Don't make it more than it is or less than it should be. Oh my gosh. Or don't be like, you got this, dude. He's easy. You got to find that. Yeah, keep them
Middle
sharp.
ground.
Yeah. Overhyping them and getting them nervous, or taking that opponent lightly. Just can't. Yeah.
What's one thing most people would be surprised to learn about you?
I took dance, I did ballroom, I did hip hop, I did ballet, I played the saxophone, I played drums, I played the flute, the pianica. Actually, I'm an in the closet Disney movie watcher. I like to go to movies by myself. I don't care if I'm with somebody and I'm by myself. I go to the movies by myself. I actually don't mind watching drama films and actually crying by myself. So I will not let you know that. That's something in my eye. But I love action movies, though. I love action movies. But on the other end of the extreme, I'll watch America's Got Talent. I love watching The World of Dance. I don't mind showing up at a poetry reading event. I think there's more to me than
Staying
just
immersed in the arts.
Yeah, just not just I'm bad with names but good with faces. I can play music by ear, so I can listen to something and play it with my saxophone.
Are you still pretty involved with music and dance?
Every time I hold pads, I'm dancing. What are you talking about? Every time I'm doing.
I know you bring it up in class. I just didn't know if you pursue any other dance or music related things outside of the gym.
No, not as much. I think I played the saxophone a couple of times here and there, but sometimes somebody say, "Can you play at my wedding?" So I'm like, "All right." No, I don't have that. I don't have the time for that band life. I mean, I'm talking about like drinking till 2 a.m, playing on stage on Friday night and Saturday. I'm just like, oh, no wonder why I don't do this lifestyle. It's a different lifestyle. It is not. Yeah, it's different.
For sure. Very good. Okay, we made it through all of our roll call questions. So last but not least, Belton and I, we end every mini episode with word into wisdom. Okay, so you're going to either choose, there's a list of 100 words. One is our naughty list. So this is more of a gritty, tough, sometimes challenging words. And then we have our nice list, which is more motivational and uplifting terms. So we can start with whatever of your choosing. So you want to start with naughty or nice?
Oh, naughty.
Okay. And then you get to choose from 1 to 100. What's your number?
77.
77. Okay. So I have your word. And so what you're going to do is I'll give you your word, a brief definition, and then ultimately you're just going to kind of explain how it's shown up in your life or martial arts journey and what wisdom you take from it, maybe a personal definition. You can kind of go in whatever direction you want. So this word is pride. So in its destructive form, it can be an inflated sense of self that resists accountability or humility. So pride. What does that mean to you?
Pride.
Or how has it shown up in your life?
Pride has caused me to not say sorry when I'm sorry. It's hurt relationships. Pride has caused, you want the bad form of it or the good form?
I mean, we are talking from maybe the destructive side of things,
Okay.
but
No problem.
I'll take it more on both sides because I like it, because pride is one of those things where it can be a double-edged sword a little bit.
It is. It's one of those words, right? So pride can also mean that you carry yourself with a higher standard than most people, that you're not too good to do the drill. You'll get in line, you'll do the warm up. But pride can also limit your learning. It can cut your learning. It can block, it can put blinders on when you can see things from a wider perspective and a wider lens and start to connect arts, connect movement. And it also limits you from building new relationships. That one person who should be a good person that you can talk to and partner up with, but you're too prideful because you're too good for them, was probably your boss, your future boss, and you were looking for a job. That could be the Amazon high executive person who just wanted to do a martial art, but you were too prideful because they suck, because he or she is a 47-year-old, and you're not willing to humble yourself to just be like, hey, you want to turn your hands over, just be a good human being. You're too prideful. You're too prideful to listen to your coach because you think you know it all, and you lose the next 3 or 4 fights versus you could have been in the winning streak because you just put your pride aside and just decided you can lose opportunities. I'm too prideful to train with that person because they beat me last time. But you show up at their gym and then you go, my God, that was a great session. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come here, sir, ma'am. I learned so much. So inhibit learning, inhibit growth. That's what bad pride does, and ruin relationships. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so moving on to our nice list.
Nice.
What number do you want to choose for this one?
Let's go 53.
53. Clarity. Being easily seen or heard, a state of having a full, detailed, and orderly mental grasp of something.
Clarity. When you stop for a moment, breathe and pause and understand, again, talking about like from 10,000 feet in the air, you have more clarity on what the instructor is trying to convey. You have clarity on the message. You understand the meaning behind the message. You also are open to more suggestion. If you're the asking side of things and the speaking side of things to your instructor or fellow students or people, then you get your questions answered better rather than beating around the bush, rather than circling around. If you're just very clear, precise, and upfront, I understand you asked for the armbar, you asked me to pinch my knees together. So what does the pinching do, and how is that more successful in executing the armbar? Wow, that's a great question. That's very concise and clear. It locks the joint, it keeps no room for, etc. And there's clarity, and there's also, you can add that word in and you can ask it the wrong way and you won't get the right answer. So like you keep asking me to twist my body. I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean by that? That's not clarity. Clarity is like, so coach, when you turn and you twist and you rotate, you keep saying, do that when I throw my cross. Can I ask, what's the difference between this and that? And yes, you get more power. Oh, and then clarity goes both sides. Just do it. That's not clarity. When you do that, you actually turn and you twist, you rotate, you get more power, you get more length, you actually execute the move better. Well, thank you for such a clear answer. So
yeah, so examples
clarity,
from like a teaching perspective as well as the learning perspective.
and also allowing yourself to have clarity on your goals in life, what you're going to do in that class. I'm going to have clarity on my purpose today when I walk in. We're learning lapel series. I'm going to be a student. I'm going to clear my mind, because clarity also means clear, clear, not muddled. But if you're just going there just like, maybe you're on the mat, dude. Let that shit go. Remember, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. So why are you bringing shit into the mat? You just got off work. Who cares that you got yelled at your boss? So you can have clear, concise information being delivered to you so you can embrace it and get into a learning mode. But if you don't have that, then there's no clarity. It happens both sides. Clarity can get jobs done more efficiently. Hey, can you get that thing and just dump it? What thing? There's no efficiency in tasks. There's no efficiency in time. You waste energy. You make everybody irritated. Hey, right over there by the bathroom, Amir, because he's the one that walked in, there's a blue bucket. Inside that blue bucket is a water that was used for the mopping. What I want you to do is don't dump it in the sink. Go to the toilet, dump it there. When you come back, please put the mop upright so it can, when you're done, come and let me know. So I don't wonder if you ever did it. Yes.
I
Would
feel
you
like
like to
you're bringing in a
repeat me?
real world example.
Oh, this is so damn real.
every time after class.
And do you understand what I'm saying? Do I need to repeat it? No, I got it. Good. You just said you got it. Therefore, I expect it to be done that way. Any questions, everybody? No. Good. I'm about to leave. Hey, coach. I'm like, I just asked if you had questions. I'm gonna stay here another 30 minutes. So being clear and having clarity in your communication will get things done. There won't be tension, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, I like it. Belton, it's been an absolute pleasure. You are so full of just good stories, lots of wisdom, and I'm super excited to just see where you keep moving forward from a coaching perspective, where you're traveling to next. Make sure to keep in touch with us when you're heading down to Texas here soon. We'd love to meet up. Anything that you want to promote or share that you're just excited about in the coming future?
I'll be at WBC Thailand. I'll be teaching in Philippines. I'll be in Philippines twice in November. So if you're out there, I'll be in Cebu the first week. I'll be in the latter half. I'll be in Boracay. Those you don't know, look it up. Boracay. It's in Cebu. They're both beautiful islands. And I'll be in Thailand the end of November, right after Philippines. Go straight to Thailand. I'll just hop over, and then I'm looking at Texas. I'll be in Guam there January 7th. I'll be in Virginia cornering a fight. I'll be in LA October 19th. So
if people are
I'll be
interested in
around.
connecting or hopping into one of these seminars or things that you're teaching, what's the best way for them to follow along? Is it just to reach out to you via Instagram, Facebook? What's the best way that you prefer?
Instagram and Facebook, because I usually double up on those. So if a seminar's coming up, I'll probably throw it up there and be like, hey, I'm going to be here.
Okay.
You can go online and get my contact information. I have a business cell phone, so I'm pretty accessible, and I think that's one of my flaws. I'm pretty accessible, so if you reach out to me, I most likely will get back to you.
Awesome. And for those listening, I will put all that information down in the show notes, so you'll have an easy way to find and harass Belton some more, like you aren't already harassed enough, but all for the good stuff, and I know it's what you're passionate about, so keep on keeping on, Belton.
I'll say Kap Kung Kap Sawadee Kap, Os,
Sawadee Kap,
and Mabuhay.
Mabuhay. I don't know if I've heard that.
That's Filipino.
Oh, I like it. Very good.
Mabuhay.
All right.
So there's 3 arts, and you got the 3 greetings or 3 goodbyes, whatever. Okay.
No better way to end this episode. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. See you.
Thanks for listening to The Grip. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow along on Instagram at The Grip Pod to stay up to date on new episodes. That way you can send over a DM if you've got a question you'd like to hear answered on our roll call series. Now remember, stay sharp, be grounded, and never lose your grip. See you next time.